going to make a part 2 to that because one thing that I think is the difficult part is the transition, is the journey of this experience. And that's why people are like, okay, let's just get this done. Like, this sounds great, lovely, fabulous, or New Earth sounds great. Like, let's get this done. Like, let's get this moving right now. Like, let's have this happen right now because I'm done with, like, all this shit. And I'm like, that's unfortunately what God has been training me on for over a year now, is, like, how to, like, let go of trying to control how this experience goes and just kind of more being present with this experience. And, I mean, I'm going to explain this one day, but that's actually been the most difficult thing for me to do, is, like, let go and trust God and not be impatient with this journey. So when I see people, like, make comments where they're like, oh, I just want the aliens to come right now, I'm like, guys, I totally get this. Like, I totally understand where you're coming from. I've been going through a very similar situation in my own personal life. Where, like, oh, I just want to get out of this house, kind of a thing. And every day God teaches me that I'm, like, just not in control of that. Like, He is, and His plan. And His plan is greater than my plan. And I'm limiting Him. And all this stuff. And it's like, God just wants you to know that it's going to happen. And then other than that, like, He wants to surprise you. And so it's like, that's part of this too. It's like, this is actually supposed to be good for us. This is going to be fun for us. Like, once we obviously, like, grieve and we get through, like, the darkness and the sludge and the yuckiness of, like, having to explain this to a bunch of people who don't understand what's going on right now. It's still going to be beautiful within that. And that's why I think duality is really important right now, and why God's been training me on it, like, so much, because it's going to be coming up so much in, like, these next big parts of our lives as we transition, is, like, this duality. We're like, yes, a lot of us New Earthers, like, we're gonna be having a really good time while a lot of people are not. And then, like, we're gonna feel this guilt, or we're gonna feel this, like, kind of like, oh no, like, now everybody, is kind of, like, sad and all this stuff. And so there needs to be, like, a sensitivity and an ability to empathize, and that's, like, our gifts. That's why our gifts are empathy, because during this transition of Earth, we're really going to need to use it, because we're going to need to feel how people are feeling and be sensitive to that and adapt to people's emotions and behaviors, which is, again, why a lot of us neurodivergents, like, we kind of, like, we're around a line of environments where we have to, like, walk on eggshells, because they needed to attune our frequency and our minds and our brains to like, pick up micro expressions and micro behaviors and micro energy within people during this transition period, because you're going to have to be really sensitive towards people. Because obviously, like, our entire society is collapsing and people's entire identities are collapsing. That's, like, a totally different situation than just, like, normal therapy where you're like, oh, my mom and dad hurt my feelings. It's like, it's like, no, like, literally our entire society is, like, going down here. So, but in the best way ever. However, that is why God has trained us a certain specific way, or we are just, like, more attuned to God, like, we're closer to God as neurodivergents and things like that, because we have these capabilities, again, that these people don't have. And that's, again, what this contrast is supposed to be showing us. It's not supposed to be pissing us off. It's supposed to be showing us, like, oh yeah, we have different abilities than these people do. And then you're supposed to go, I wonder why I have those different abilities. You're not supposed to be like, I have different abilities than you. You're supposed to be like, okay, clearly there's a difference here. Why is there a difference? Well, the difference is that you have these abilities to, like, empathize and be kind and caring towards people. And then, you're like, well, why would I have why is there so much of us right now? Well, because there's this big ascension situation going on. And actually there's all these time loops of all these, like, different types of history that we have not been able to, like, overcome, and time has been manipulated and things like that. And, like, there's this whole situation going on down here on Earth. But with that, it is, like, gaining this, again, this metacognition, this omnipotence of God. It gives you the ability to just calm your nervous system and your mind and your brain, and also get on board with what's going on and how to adapt to what's going on right now. Because then you're like, okay, well, if that's the case, then I just need to really attune my empathy and my, my love and my kindness. But also, that's also why I'm learning why God's having me have such like strong boundaries right now. Because again, we're going to have to be helping people, but we're also going to have to learn how to conserve our energy. And that's where we really fucked up, a lot of us. We fucked up. We gave a lot of our energy away. We gave a lot of like ourselves away to people. We overgave, and it really hurt us. So then over here, we're not overgiving to these people. We're able to feel and empathize and have that compassion, right? Which is our superpower. But we also have that new superpower, which is boundaries, which is, okay, but I have to conserve myself. I cannot give from an empty cup. So here, I'm going to fill my cup, and I'm going to make sure my cup is filled, and that is how I'm going to give to these people. And that is like the polarity to what these people are doing right now, these deletes, is that they're supposed to be doing that. They're supposed to be filling their cups and then filling everybody else's cups. But all they're doing is filling their cups and filling their cups and filling their cups and depleting ours. And that's why this society, it's like I don't know if, like, it's funny because I was raised in Chicago, so, like, in the suburbs, and they give me Buckingham Fountain in Chicago, and it's, like, all these different layers. It's almost like a cake of, like, of a fountain. And it's, like, the water is not pouring in throughout the fountain, so it's just like it's like going everywhere, it's splaying everywhere, and it's just like only the top's getting in, and it's like trickling down into some, and it's like not, and it's malfunctioning. And so like that's what's happening, is our fountain is malfunctioning. And it's like that's what hierarchy is in society. That's what the old souls who are supposed to be guiding the young souls are supposed to be doing, is they fill their cups and then they give out back to the rest of the world. However, there is going to be this like weird social misinterpretation of light workers and stuff being selfish. But it's like, no, we are just, again, functioning as humans should be functioning in this society. And they're going to have this misperception when they, again, have this cognitive dissonance that they can't see that the people in front of them are the ones actually being selfish. So there is going to be this like sense of, again, projection that we're going to get onto us, because people are going to be in denial of the fact that they're going to have to shift their realities, that there's people here who have always been here helping them, trying to shift their realities, and that, again, we are going into this future where we're all going to have to shift. And so, again, there's going to be this adjustment period here. And so God has been training a lot of us all of our lives on projection, on giving too much of our energy away, on how to, create boundaries by cutting people out of our lives that don't align with us. That's like the first step of creating boundaries. The next step is going to be, when you have to interact with the public. So if you're a reader of any kind, or you do Reiki, or you offer any kind of services, coaching, like anything like that. A really important thing that you guys need to learn how to do is A, how your energy affects people. B, what like depletes and what fulfills your energy. And C, what your capacities are. What your capacities with energy are. And a lot of you guys have already been learning this by like having to cut people off and having to take time back from work and like following your passions and doing, and there's like a lot of sacrifice that us like light workers are having to do right now. And that's like just part of like the process of ascension down here. Like God wants you to really have that like biblical experience of like having like the faith of a mustard seed in him, or having faith, and then him like replenishing you with like blessings and the biblical miracles and stuff, because us light workers are having a biblical experience right now with spiritual gifts and Jesus and all this stuff. And so there's like certain things again too that God's like having us do to qualify us as new earth leaders, and that's like Jesus's all of Jesus's qualities. That's what qualifies you for a new earth leader. And one of the things that I just didn't realize is like that Jesus has strong boundaries. Jesus had strong boundaries. He loved, but he had strong boundaries because God taught him, trained us on how to love like properly, and how to function as a human properly, and then how to like, teach everybody else how to do that. And again, we've been ostracized for it, but again, that's also a biblical, Jesus experience. So we've all been having this experience of Jesus. And that's the point of Jesus' stories. You're supposed to find yourself within it. It's not that one man had the story. It's the man came down here to tell you, find yourself within that story. And then how can you apply it to your life and then become Christ, That's the whole kit and caboodle, is that there's like a bunch of people who are Jesus. It's not just one. And actually, I'm being told everybody is Jesus, even the worst. It's just they're way farther away. That's it.